Welcome everyone to Real Estate with Gwen Price, and I'm happy to have as my guest again Cory Frith, and he's a home inspector with a Buyer's Choice Home Inspections.
Awesome. Hi, Gwen. Nice to be here today.
Hi, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, yes.
It's a little chilly outside today, and
My God.
I'm always excited by the start of a brand new year. You start from zero, at least in my business, and then you see what happens. So it's been interesting times during all of this COVID, but things. I'm hoping this will be the year that we'll get through all of that COVID stuff. But life goes on in the real estate world, and people have to buy, they have to sell, and my job is to help them do that. And you're part of the equation, of course, as a home inspector. And I know the last time we chatted, we were talking about how often now in this competitive market, people are taking out the home inspections condition, and there's ways of handling that. But when we do a home inspection, what does that entail? Why do a home inspection? Maybe start there.
Sure. Yeah, great question. And there's different reasons to do a home inspection. We go out there and do pre-listing inspections. So sometimes it's a seller, they're selling their property, and they actually have us go do a home inspection before the home goes to market. And some reasons for that. One, we can go through their home, give them a full thorough inspection, and identify any possible concerns that may affect the outcome of a sale. So they can go out there and they can have their repairs done prior to the listing, or they can choose to sell it and disclose these areas of concern. But again, it puts that control in the seller's field of things, and they can decide how they want to maneuver through this process, this transaction with their realtor. With that, then they have a report. They can use that and to help them market their home as well. And in certain types of markets, that's definitely an advantage. And then we also offer the buyer, if they come through to buy the home, sometimes there's a concern that maybe we've inspected that home for the seller. Our due diligence is always to the home, the condition of the home, not to either party. But we'll go back out there and re-inspect that home, give a full inspection for the buyer at a greatly discounted rate. Then it transfers the warranty that we offer over to the buyer. And as well, now the buyer has an updated report, because perhaps that seller did make some of the repairs that we found. If we found deficiencies in the home, they may have done some upgrades. Now we can inspect that as well. So that's one of the reasons we see individuals ask for a home inspection.
Mm-hmm. And when you do a home inspection, how long does it take? Like 2 hours, half an hour? What does it take?
I know we're asked to be in and out in half an hour these days. Actually, I just finished doing one before meeting with you here this afternoon, a pre-offer advisory for a client. But typically we're in a home, I always ask for 3 hours of time. Okay. Typically it's anywhere between 2 and 3, and it does depend on the components in the home and the quality the home is in, and how much we can inspect due to the finish levels of maybe the basement, that kind of a thing. So when we go out there to do a full standard home inspection, we always start on the exterior of the home, and based on weather conditions and pitch, we will get up on the roof if it's safe to do so. We'll inspect all the flashings, all the roof point penetration points, ensuring we have good seals there, trying to detect any possible leaks into the attic space. Once the roof has been inspected, then we'll do an inspection on the exterior of the home, inspecting, caulking around the windows, any moisture penetration points through damaged siding, or if the mortar is deteriorating on the brickwork. We'll be checking out the door seals as well for weather stripping, ensuring, from an energy perspective, that the home is in good condition.
Lost you for a minute there.
Sorry, there we go. Sorry, I just had a client calling through that I was working with earlier today.
I forgot the wonders of technology we were talking about.
Oh, we never stop. So sorry about that.
That's okay.
So we'll do an exterior inspection on the home. The other thing we're really looking at as well is the grading on the property as well, because that's can have such an impact on how the basement's performing. So once that's done, we'll move into the home, and if there's a crawl space, we always start our way at the bottom of the home and work our way up. So whether it be a basement, crawl space, we'll go through there. We're looking at structure. We'll be ensuring the integrity of of that from what we can see. Sometimes basements are so well finished, the drywall, the paneling, we can't see behind that. But we do have technology that we use with our thermal imaging camera that allows us to look behind the drywall and detect maybe insulation voids or moisture intrusion points. So there are other things that we can do that you just can't see with your naked eye. So we'll go through and we'll check all that with the home, and then we'll be looking at the electrical panels. We'll open those up and do an inspection of the electrical, determining what type of wiring was used. Is it copper? Is there evidence of aluminum wiring? Because your insurance companies will want to know that.
Yep.
As well as we'll check the heat source, whether it's a boiler, or if it's a furnace, or if they're using electric baseboard heating. And we'll inspect that in the home as well. And we're reporting on these items on their condition at time of inspection. And a lot of times people will say, well, does it pass or does it fail?
Yeah.
And we're not there to pass or fail a home. It's really to ensure that we're reporting on the conditions of those appliances or those functions of the home at that time. And we always make sure that our customers are aware of that before we go in there. It's not an invasive inspection. We're not opening up walls and cutting up drywall. It's looking at what we can have, what we have access to, as many of the outlets as possible, because we can't move things around. But we'll do our best to get into those spots.
Well, I think that's one fear that sometimes the sellers have too, is you're just going to kind of demolish their house as you go through looking for everything. And I always tell them, like the same, what you just said, you can't open up things unless they're easily opened up, and you can't move in furniture and that sort of thing. So I know some people think it will be a very invasive inspection, but you're limited by what you can see, right?
Yeah. And it's so true. And that's actually one of the things that we do, and I love about our company, is we actually work with all the partners involved with the process. So we send out an email to even the seller's agent, and there's a link in that email that they can share with the seller. And it's how to prepare a home for a home inspection. So they can go through, make sure we have access to the electrical panel. They'll have all the lights turned on for us, and they'll have access to those important parts that a buyer would want us to be able to inspect, so that the furnace isn't blocked.
The attic, right? It's always the attic. And sometimes there's this little hole.
It's a little hole in a closet, right? Full of clothes. And then you open it up and there's no attic dam. So all this insulation falls down over you. So I always show up with a dirt buster on site, because you never know. Last thing you want to do is leave a closet full of insulation all over someone's clothes. It doesn't bode well for business.
No.
So so once we're done through that part of the home, we'll go through, we check all the windows, we'll open and close them, make sure they lock, see if any adjustments are required, checking for seals. We'll be checking all the plumbing fixtures. We run the hot water, the cold water, making sure they're hooked up appropriately, and also inspecting the condition of the drain, that that's done correctly, looking for any leaks. And then we'll run all the fixtures in the home, and we'll check all the lights in the home. We'll be looking at exhaust vents, making sure they're vented properly, that they're vented outside, not just terminating in the attic, which we find a lot, unfortunately.
Yes.
And
then they wonder why there's problems, right?
Yeah, exactly. Why do I have water dripping out of my bathroom exhaust fan? So, and that's why we go in there and we look at all that stuff, because the buyers, they have enough to worry about at that time. And they're trying to figure out some logistics. If they're changing schools with children, is my furniture going to fit? I don't like this wall color, right? So they're looking at other aspects of the home, and that's why we come in to look at those, the more detailed aspects. And like I said, lastly, we go up in the attic. We're looking at the structure in the attic. Is everything vented properly? What are the insulation levels like, and what type of insulation is in that attic? So then we can provide the buyer on that same day a full digital report of all these components of the home, and then they can ask more questions if they feel free. I love it when they're there with me, because I can show them firsthand what we find. That's always the best. But during these times as well, that we've learned in the last 2 years, I guess now, everyone's comfort level is different.
Yes. Yeah, but it's a good thing, especially for a first-time buyer, when they know nothing about houses. Sometimes they know nothing about structure, and I find it's a very good educational tool for them to learn about a house, and maybe when right now everything's okay, but maybe in a year you have to do this, or in 5 years you have to do that sort of thing. So, but which brings me to the idea with first-time buyers. Oftentimes they want to have a friend or their dad or their uncle do the home inspection, which I mean, they have the right to do that, but I always found it takes you need somebody with an objective point of view, right? And it takes the weight of the responsibility off dad or uncle or whoever they were going to get. Because even when my dad was alive, even though he was a carpenter, I still wanted somebody else to have a look at it and not put all that responsibility on him.
That's for sure. And, we're out there inspecting. We often see family members show up and I welcome them in the process, have them be a part of it because it is a big decision for their family member that they're buying. And I want them to be a part of that process. They're there for a reason, whether it's their own interest or the interest of their son or daughter. And I'll show them firsthand, the things that we come across and even ask for their opinion sometimes, bring them a part of, because this is really an experience.
It is.
And welcome their involvement because like I said before, like I inspect every home, like one of my daughters may buy it. It doesn't mean it has to be perfect, but I want them to be informed.
Well, and again, when we were talking about whether a house passes or fails, and it doesn't, it's not one or the other, but and everybody's got a different threshold. I mean, the idea though of the home inspection is that to identify problems that when I've showed them the house, we're in and out so quickly, especially nowadays, a half hour or less. And it's really hard. Sometimes you can tell things right away because maybe the floors are wonky or maybe there's a big crack there. But a lot of times you can't see it within that limited amount of time. And there's certain things I can maybe have an idea might be going on, but I'm not an expert. That's not my field of expertise. So that's why it is good to have another set of eyes looking at it.
Yeah, most definitely. And that's where, we go back in there. And that's the nice part with a full inspection, because then when we're done and we leave there and we compile all the information and give the client the report, it really becomes like an operations manual for them. There's a lot of information we're giving them in that short window, whether it's a pre-offer where we're in there for 30 to 60 minutes, or if we have the luxury of a full standard inspection, it's 3 hours. Especially for a first-time home buyer, if they're not familiar with this industry, and they may not know how everything works, and we're trying to share with them all this information, and it can be overloading, so overwhelming. So we will give them that report, and then they're welcome to call us afterward. We can walk through, hey, page 23, you spoke about this. I remember something about it, and we'll gladly have that conversation with them. Just because we're done the inspection, we always offer that after service care, and that's just that comes with our standard inspections. That's everyday technical advice that we give for free.
And it's challenging in this market to get a full inspection done prior to submitting an offer, because oftentimes they're competing, and to purchase a full-blown inspection every single time can get very expensive. But there's ways. Sometimes if they did a preliminary one and maybe they do it after they've bought the place, it's just a very stressful market for buyers, and in particular first-time buyers, that's for sure.
And that's why we've had to adapt as all businesses have during this pandemic, and we came up with the pre-offer advisory service, so we can go in there and that 30 to 60 minutes for less than half the price of a standard inspection, give you a pretty quick overview of the home. We'll still look at all those factors. You just don't have the report to come along with it. And we can give you a lot of information to help you make a more comfortable bid, competitive bid during this market. And then we also offer to go back in, if they have a successful bid, to go in there and do a full inspection afterward for the balance of our standard inspection. So I know I've had a few people that have done 3 to 4 of these pre-offer inspections. And then we go in there and finally do a full inspection on the final home they actually buy. I mean, to imagine to buy 4 full inspections from a home inspector at full price, that would cost a lot of money, versus the pre-offers. You can go in there and for half the price, at least have some comfort and some knowledge about this home and make a more comfortable, secure bid, right?
It's because one client comes to mind where I think we wrote 10 offers. So and you think, okay, and finally, they were able to get something, but it's very, it's just very difficult to go through that process. But hopefully things will calm down. But I really don't know. We don't have any idea. It's just, it would be lovely if we had a crystal ball, but we don't. So we got to go with the flow and deal with things as we have. And some people, you know, maybe they are very knowledgeable, bought lots of homes over the years. Maybe they're a contractor, and that's a different set of, you know, looking at it differently than a first-time buyer who has
Yeah.
no knowledge of houses. But it's good to have, that's for sure. And I know they're pretty detailed when you do get to do the full-blown
Yeah.
inspections, and it's like I say, it's an educational tool. It's a comfort tool. So it's you know, if they can do it, it's a good thing to do.
It is. And you know, I've met a few people over the past year where they've bought the home and they have concerns. So even though they already own the property, they've had us come in and do a full home inspection for them to give them that peace of mind. And a couple of times it's happened. The good part was their areas of concern actually turned out to be okay, but we found a lot of other deficiencies in the meantime that they had no idea about.
Yeah.
So now they can go in there and they can improve the those areas of the home and have a better performing home, right? And that's something, it's another type of inspection that we developed last year. And then just the way it's written in the offer is what we call an informational inspection, where we go in there and do a full home inspection prior to them taking possession. But they've made the offer, we want to buy this home. We're asking for an informational inspection where we go in, do a full home inspection for the client. But the findings of that home inspection have no bearing on the outcome of that sale of that home because they've already bought it. They just want us to be able to go in there to inspect it. That way, if there are areas that need attention, they can start lining up those contractors before they get into the home. And it's something new that we've been doing in the past year. And I've heard different realtors in the background talking about it while I've been in there doing the inspection. And it's something that's been gaining some traction as people become more knowledgeable and aware of how it's working. And all it is phrasing it differently in the offer. And now you can get your client that full inspection. But the inspection is not being used to be a bargaining tool. It's not being used to negotiate the terms of the sale. It's literally just that. It's an informational inspection. It's a full home inspection. But now they know what they have and they can go and make the appropriate arrangements so they can have contractors in close to possession date, and maybe they need a new furnace. They don't have to wait till they've received possession and schedule that a month out. They can schedule it a month earlier and have someone there on day 2 of possession putting a new furnace in the home. So it's things like that that we've been working with in the last year to try and help all parties involved, the clients, the selling, the listing agent, the buyer's agent, everyone.
Yeah, well, it's nice to have some options in this crazy times we're living in. But yeah, no, that's great. I wanted to you know, let people know of your service, and certainly, you know, what is a home inspection, why get one done, and that kind of thing. And then they can make their decisions from there. So what's the best way to reach you if they do want to book a home inspection through you, Cory?
They can either, best way I love is when they call me at on my cell number, 705-618-1396. That way I can ask them some pertinent questions right up front, you know, the age of the home, where it's located, what style of home, is it a single family home, duplex, triplex, because they often have a lot of questions. And sometimes I'll receive emails with requests and I'll answer those as well. And if there's ever a phone number on that email, I'll always call them. Because you get so much more information so quicker, right? Through a phone conversation.
For sure.
Or they can text me. We also offer for people that love the new age technology, they can actually book their inspections online. If you go to our website, on there is my online scheduler. They can see the openings we have throughout the week, and even for the realtors as well. They have an app that they can download onto their phones. It's our realtor dashboard app. And if they have a client that needs an inspection, if time is of the essence, they don't even have to try and call us. They can just pull up that app. There's my schedule, and they can book me Thursday morning at 10 o'clock, and I'll get a notification of that. Then I'll reach out to the parties involved and we'll go over the particulars, but at least they can secure that time, because as you know, the market is hot. And when you have a short window to get an inspection, you don't want to lose half a day trying to book that.
No, for sure. Yeah, because it's pretty difficult nowadays to put in long conditions, or if any conditions. So yeah, that's good to know. And I'll put those links when I post this, and they can reach out to you. Yeah. Well, thanks again, Cory. It was great talking to you, and very informative. And thank you. And I wish you all the best this year.
Yes, all the best to you as well. Always a pleasure, Gwen.
Great. Take care.
You too. Cheers.